Hand over the call to Mr. Adish. Over to you for the opening remarks.
Thank you, Cinderella. Good evening, everyone. We welcome all of you on behalf of the entire management of Aarti Drugs Limited for the earnings call for the December 2020 quarter. In the December 2020 quarter, the company recorded consolidated quarterly revenue from operations of rupees 530.25 crores with year-on-year increase of 11.98%. API segment contributed approximately 87% and formulation segment around 13% of the total consolidated revenues. Within the API segment, 66.89% of the revenues came from domestic market and 33.11% from the export market. In the formulation division, 31.01% of the sales came from exports in this quarter. Domestic sales of the API segment grew by approximately 13.5% and exports by around 13.77%. Around 66% of this growth in the API segment was driven by volume growth due to good demand across multiple therapies. Formulation segment revenues grew by around 5.21% on a year-on-year basis. For the period ended December 2020, revenues from the API segment can be broadly classified into following therapeutic categories. The antibiotic therapeutic category contributed to around 44%, anti-protozoal around 13%, anti-inflammatory around 14%, anti-diabetic around 10%, antifungal around 7%, and the rest can be classified as other categories. As compared to last financial year of 2019-20, anti-inflammatory segment has increased from 10 to 13%, mainly on the account of higher sales of products like nimesulide, diclofenac derivatives, and celecoxib. In this financial year, due to lockdown, spread of waterborne diseases was less, and hence, in general, a lower demand of anti-protozoal segment was observed. Post-vaccination, once people start traveling more, this demand is expected to grow again. In December 2020 quarter, consolidated earnings before tax, interest and depreciation is rupees 107.76 crores, up by 59.11%, and consolidated profit after tax for the quarter ended December 2020 is rupees 68.03 crores, up by almost 144.88%. Consolidated EBITDA margin improved from last year to around 20.25%. Debt to equity ratio of the company reduced further down to 0.39 as of December 2020 on the consolidated basis due to strong internal accruals. This puts the company in a very good position for raising long-term debt in addition to strong internal accruals to finance upcoming greenfield projects. Recently expanded anti-inflammatory capacity is contributing to growth. The company is also in the process of commissioning new anti-diabetic production line for new product launches later this year. In addition, brownfield expansion of one of its antibiotic products would also be completed in near future. Top line growth would be further supported by good traction in the formulation exports. The company is also ramping up its R&D facilities both in API as well as formulation segment to support future growth and innovations. In efforts to support environment, the company has recently converted 2 more of its facilities to zero effluent discharge category and has already applied to the pollution board for the same. And we are adding 2 more units to this category in coming weeks. Now we would like to open up the discussion for question and answers and take questions from the participants. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on the touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Anyone who would like to ask a question, please press star and one at this time. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. The first question is from the line of Pranay Dhilia from Panchantra Advisors. Please go ahead.
Hi. What is the total debt of the company at the moment?
So it is around 334 crores right now, and around 186 would be term loan.
186 would be?
Term loan.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Saravanan from Unifi Capital. Please go ahead.
Hello. Yeah, thanks for taking my question. So, could you please provide an update about how the pricing in APIs, how is it changed from Q2 to Q3 and even as we speak, and how is it going to pan out in Q4? Because you had last time mentioned that in June you were able to see the prices had peaked, and accordingly we could see in Q3 EBITDA margins have come off, although the gross margins have remained at higher levels. So could you please comment on the same?
Yeah, thank you. Yes, last time we did said on con call that in September quarter, during the middle of the quarter, the pricing had gone down a little bit and then it had stabilized. So fortunately, as of today, the pricing has remained same from that point of time. That is, I think during the month of August, the pricing had come up a little bit, but after that, the pricing is quite stable as of now. So, and that is why the gross contribution is also healthy even for the December quarter. So as of now, we don't see any price erosion.
Okay. So does that mean the EBITDA margins which are seen in this quarter, which is Q3, of 20+%, without considering the other income? So do you think this will be a new normal for Aarti Drugs? Because earlier you had mentioned that 18 is what you would target, but now is 20% becoming the new normal?
Yeah, so we also thought that by December the pricing might come off, but then as per the current market scenario, we feel that 19-20% seems to be doable. But let's see, means for 2 more quarters to go, once the COVID is once the entire globe is out of COVID problem, then I guess we'll get the new long-term normal.
Okay, thank you. And my second question is on the volumes front. I mean, how are you seeing the demand progressing? So is that why you're putting up new capacities, or is it because your existing capacities are almost peak utilization? So any comments on the demand scenario for the Q4 as well as for the next financial year?
Yeah. So as we had discussed last time, so our current API capacity, without considering this brownfield expansion which are going on, can give us revenues up to 2,500 crores, and plus formulation revenues will be extra. But with this new brownfield expansion which is going on right now, then plus we are putting up anti-diabetic production line also. So that too, coupled with the greenfield projects what we are putting up, those will be the main growth drivers for the next 3 to 5 years. So that is why we are putting up the capacity so that we can achieve a revenue target of around 4,500 upwards in 5 years.
Okay, so this is on the capacity front. Do you think that volume growth will be as good as what has happened in the current year, or could it stabilize in the next year?
Yeah. So actually speaking, we felt that anti-protozoal and antibiotic segment, the volume growth could have been much more, than what we saw in this particular year. And mainly it has to do with lockdown and people not moving out. A lot of less interaction between the people. That is why the spread of diseases, infectious diseases is less. So we feel after vaccination, this demand will again become strong. So, and even as of today, on an aggregate basis, in December 2020 quarter also, we observed 66% of the 12% growth which we have seen in API segment is driven by volume growth.
Okay. And any updates on the capital raising plans? Have you appointed the merchant bankers?
No. So the thing is, as of today, the internal accrual and the debt situation, debt to equity ratio is so low, 0.39, and we want to keep a target of around 0.7 kind of a debt to equity ratio, because that is a very, very comfortable situation for the company, and ROE will be much higher because the cost of debt for us is very, very low. In fact, long-term capital is available to almost 6.7 or something like near about that level, 6.7%. So we feel that we will raise term debt along with internal accruals to fund our greenfield projects.
So, okay, see, because H1, you had mentioned that you had completed 40 crores of capex. And what is the targeted capex in H2?
So, So in H2, we feel another 40 crores will go. But the main greenfield capex that will start in, we are estimating in like a couple of months' time, it should start in a big way.
So that's the like you mentioned last time. That's the 600 crore capex over 2 to 3 years.
Yes.
Okay. So the diabetes capacity, are you referring to gliptins or the metformin itself?
The gliptins. The metformin will be the much bigger expansion that will commence in 1 or 2 months' time.
I'm back to you. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Chirag Tagli from DSP Mutual Fund. Please go ahead.
Yeah, so thank you for the opportunity. On the PLI scheme, we have a couple of products. Can you just highlight broadly the kind of investments that can potentially required? I know we haven't been awarded yet, but just broadly, your thoughts on the kind of market opportunity that exists and the kind of investments needed.
As of we have applied for a few products, and we are hopeful that one intermediate product we will get. But we are not announcing anything because since the results are not out, mostly in the month of February they will be out. But if everything goes well, we have around budget of around 120 to 150 crores of capex related to PLI scheme.
And what is the kind of opportunity for this 120 crore capex?
So one of the product is our own for captive consumption, and another product that's then that particular is still yet to be applied, because that second level of PLI scheme is yet to be announced. That second product will come in that. So the first one where we have applied, there we have around 65 crores of revenue potential from external sales, and plus similar kind of captive consumption would be there of the same product.
Understood. This is for what you will spend the 120 crores, sir? One product?
No. That is for entire basket. This I was talking about only one product.
Acha. Okay. So for that one product where you are saying 65 crores internal plus 65 crores external, what is the kind of capex that one would need?
So we are not giving product-wise capex as of now, but in the 600 crore capex plan what we have announced, there are 7 main projects in it. So it's like that. So Product-wise CapEx plan, we are not giving out details, but I will tell you broadly what all seven projects are. Two of them are related to the intermediates which we will be consuming on our own. One would be our metformin expansion itself. Another would be sulfuric acid plant, which will be again mainly used captively for our chlorosulfonation products. And another would be skin treatment API, which would be more or less import substitute.
Okay, understood. And so recently there was a ciprofloxacin anti-dumping duty levied. Can you quantify if this is relevant at all? And what is the kind of impact that we can see?
Yes, we got 5 years anti-dumping duty from the government. So definitely it will get benefit against China, of late they were dumping it. So we'll be stabilized and margin will be improved on that.
Sir, can you quantify the kind of impact that one can see? Just broad numbers.
See, they have put the duty from $1.5 to $3 from the different suppliers. So that much will be quantified. It is a per kilo of $1.5.
And the way we should think about this is that this flows straight to your bottom line, sir?
It may. No, that is the anti-dumping duty. Now you cannot. I mean, yes, you can say that, but there are the other local player also in India, so we have to compete with them also.
Yeah. So that was the question, sir. Do you think the local players will also raise prices to the extent of this?
Yes, ideally it should happen like that.
Okay. And when do you think we will start seeing this?
I think it's already started because anti-dumping duty was already there from the month of September. Then previously they had given for 6 months. Now they have given for 5 years.
Okay, so the quantum doesn't change.
It will be taxed. Yeah. Yes.
Understood, sir. And sir, can you help me with the 9-month volume growth in API?
A 9-month volume growth as of I know this quarter it is around 66%. Last quarter it was around 55% or something. I don't recollect the first quarter's number, so I will get back to you on that.
No worries, Adesh. And just the last question, if I can squeeze, for how many of your products are prices? For your prices, are prices quoted in dollar, in yuan, or in INR? If you can just throw some light.
Yes. So domestic market is entirely in INR, and in export market almost 95% of the business is being done in USD. Very very rarely some are in euros and few in AED for the Middle East countries.
So dollar then flows through your PNL, right? I mean, you will get a clear benefit out of that.
I mean, I didn't get your question actually.
I'm saying that, rupee dollar moving from 70 to 75, that 5 rupees is flowing to your profitability.
It does, but then we also have imports on the opposite side. So what we have seen that more or less we are hedged, but definitely in longer term, when the rupee depreciates, we are a little bit more competitive than Chinese suppliers. So that definitely helps us.
Understood. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Abdul Puranwala from Anand Rathi. Please go ahead.
Thank you for the opportunity. So what would be the cash flow from operations for the 9 months FY21?
1 second. I will get you this figure in 1 minute.
Sure. So should I proceed to my second question, or maybe I can take this offline?
Yeah. So the cash flow from operating activities should be around 140 crores for the 9 months.
Sure. So my second question is basically, as you mentioned that the 600 crore capex plan, what you have envisaged. So, I mean, I just wanted to understand that what proportion of this could be from internal accruals, considering you have started generating very healthy cash flows. So would we see, I mean, what would be the quantum of debt we can, we may have to raise? I understand you said that it would be 0.7x the maximum side where you can take care of. But I mean, just wanted to understand on this cash flow perspective.
Yeah. So the thing is, ample amount of room is left for us to raise the money from debt because our internal accruals itself will be very strong. In fact, they'll be strong enough to even do a little bit of, shareholders payout. So on cash flow front, we are absolutely not worried. We already have tied up long-term loans from a couple of banks. And the thing is, mostly internal accruals, we may not require more than 40% debt, frankly speaking. But then it all depends upon the timing, because more quarters will go, the more and more internal accruals we will achieve. So less and less debt will be required. So there is no quick answer to that. But then what we are saying is that even if we fund entirely through debt, our debt to equity ratio may not go beyond 0.7.
Understood, sir. Understood. And so just my last question would be on this top line, target what you have set for next 5 years to about 4,500 crores. So going by, how do we see a mix between API and formulations, by next 5 years? Would it be largely driven by formulations, or we will see the similar kind of run rate being followed ahead as well?
Yeah. So the growth opportunities are on both the sides. In fact, on the standalone side also, API as well as specialty chemicals will grow quite at a more pace than the API. So specialty component will grow and formulation will also grow definitely. So we are estimating anywhere between 15 to 20% would be from formulations and rest could be from API and intermediate segment.
Understood. That would be all from me. Thank you for answering my question.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Bharat Sheth from Quest Investment. Please go ahead.
Hi, Adish. Congratulations on a good set of numbers.
Thank you.
Adish, on the specialty chemical, what kind of opportunity are we really looking, and how that it's EBITDA margin versus currently what we have at company level, and when it will start really showing in the contribution in the top line as well as bottom line?
Yeah. So the new projects, especially specialty chemicals, I would give an aggregate for all the 7 projects which you are thinking of.
Correct.
So the EBITDA margins, if we consider entire sales as external sales, then the EBITDA margins are anywhere between 24 to 25%.
Correct.
For the product mix. But I would like to highlight one thing that, and the revenue potential is around 1,500 crores of external sales. But then considering the fact that, some of the products will be consumed captively, the external revenue potential will be anywhere between 1,170 to 1,200 crores.
Okay.
The external sales.
And this is you are referring with the 600 crore capex, correct?
Correct. That one.
Okay. So, this specialty chemical, it will be more of in-house consumption, captive consumption, or it will be external sales?
So the sulfuric acid fluoride, so some products will be captively consumed, whereas some will be sold outside as well. And the chlorosulfonation entirely will be sold outside. Mainly it will be external sales.
Okay. So how do we really, because of this in-house intermediate captive consumption as well as the sulfuric acid, what you are talking, so can really have a EBITDA margin from say 20%, how do we expect to grow over next 2-3 years?
Yeah. So these particular projects will kick in little later, maybe third year from now, maybe FY23
Okay.
onwards. These particular projects will come into picture. Not everything. One metformin might come sooner, but rest of them will take time. But along with this, we are also doing lot of expansion of our existing products in the same units as well, brownfield
Correct.
expansion. So like antibiotic also, we have done almost 40% expansion. Anti-inflammatory, we have done 70% expansion of one product. Gliptins is totally new. So all these capacities are also coming up. Then we are also thinking of expanding clopidogrel, which is our cardiovascular product.
Okay. Hello.
Yeah.
So how are the profitability of those new brownfield expansion and as well as operating leverage you expect to kick in and subject that price hold on at current level? So going ahead, I mean FY22, and do we expect some kind of improvement in EBITDA margin?
Yeah. So typically when we do brownfield expansion, the immediate impact is that there is little bit of excess capacity in the market, little bit.
Okay.
So there is downward pressure in price, but at the same time, because it is a brownfield expansion, our cost per unit also goes down, so our margins increase. So our products become profitable that way. So so we are able to capture more and more market. And after a year or two, when one of competitors goes off, then again the margins expand for that product. So that is the entire the strategy what we follow. So whatever products we are taking lead, we want to achieve more and more market share, so that new players won't come in.
Okay. And this with the expansion of brownfield and greenfield capacity, so this 4,500 crore kind of a top line that you are expecting is in FY25, is it fair, or FY26? And that is purely without formulation, or?
No, that is including everything. Obviously, that is including everything more on a consolidated basis. And
I mean, it will be by approximately FY25 or FY26?
Mostly FY26, because this FY21 is almost over. So we expect FY26 also.
And that with some kind of expansion in the margin, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And this now greenfield expansion is coming under separate company, or it is a part of Aarti Drugs because to avail that tax benefit?
So we had a detailed discussion on that. So as of now, what board feels is that we might go under the same name, under Aarti Drugs itself.
Okay. And that will start kicking, I mean, capex from Q1 FY22 or?
Correct. Yeah, exactly. You are right. In Q1 itself, it will start coming in.
Okay. Thank you. That's all from my side.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Subhadra Prakash from Mount Intra Finance. Please go ahead.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah. So most of the question has been answered. I'm just reconfirming it. The target which we are giving, like for 5 years, achieving 4,500 crore, that is sufficient if we consider the existing brownfield expansion as well as the new 600 crore capex on the greenfield project.
Mm-hmm.
Is it my understanding perfect, sir?
Yes, it is including both of them. Correct.
Okay. So around 500 crore will come from greenfield projects, as residual will come from the existing brownfield project which is going on, sir.
500 crores of capex you're asking, or revenue?
No. No. What I'm saying, sir, 1,500 crore of revenue will come from greenfield, and the balance will come from brownfield.
Correct. And formulations also.
And formulations also. Perfect, sir. Sir, now coming to your 7 projects, sir, as you told, like, sir, can you give some indication of like out of the 7 projects, which will have a like greater share in terms of revenue and revenue, like the way we have mentioned, like as per my understanding, this metformin means this metformin as well as this gliptin project should have higher margin and may have higher contribution. So if you can throw some, at least the ballpark understanding, whereas this sulfonation and sulfuric acid may not be that may not add so much to our top like external top line, as well as may not have that kind of a margin. So, and maybe this skin treatment API will have a higher margin. So if you can have some understanding on that, sir.
Yeah. So the thing is, sulfuric acid and chlorosulfonation products, that some of products we are already doing in with the existing process, and what we are about to launch is with a newer process with a much lower cost of production. So the margins expected in chlorosulfonation, that is a specialty chemicals, is very high actually. So that will be more profitable. And in fact, gliptin will be just starting. So we are not very much, optimistic that we will achieve high margins right away in the first year itself. But definitely, as the processes improve, as the capacities scale up, they will definitely become major, profit drivers for us. No doubt about that. Metformin, the thing is, metformin for domestic market, the margins are more or less similar to the company level, but the export markets are very profitable for metformin products. And definitely with CEP approval, we are getting more and more export approvals for metformin products, and that is how the margin expansion will take place in the metformin products for us.
And sir, regarding this skin care treatment API, that should be higher margin business, sir, whereas maybe from a top line perspective will be lower.
That is, as of today, it is more than the company level margin. That also.
Okay, sir. Perfect, sir. I am done with my questions.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of P. Srihari from TCS Securities. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity. Firstly, on the pricing front, you said that it was fairly stable for the quarter across the board. But if you can just give a breakout in terms of, there would have been pockets where the pricing would have been lower, whereas in some other pockets it would have been significantly higher. So if you could give a breakout that way. And secondly, the metformin unit that we are talking about, can you please give an indication what is the kind of capacity you intend to set up? Thank you.
So your first question was more from products point of view or the markets point of view?
Yeah, therapies. If you can give us therapy-wise, I mean, in which therapy we saw
therapy-wise. So, frankly speaking, with anti-inflammatory definitely is doing well as of now. Anti-diarrheal, definitely, as I said, that because of the lockdown, the demand is little less. So obviously that reflects in the pricing also. So as of now, anti-diarrheal will be doing little lesser than the company level margins, but anti-inflammatory are doing better than the company level margins. And as far as metformin is concerned, we already have around 1100 tons per month capacity. So our first phase expansion will be taking it to 2000 tons per month capacity. And the second phase, which will be 2.5 years later, that would be taking it to 3000 tons per month capacity.
Okay. I mean, on this pricing front, I mean, there were reports that, in certain pockets, Chinese supply has commenced. So did you witness that in any particular product or therapy?
So we also import quite a few raw materials, chemicals from China. So that supply has started right since May towards the May end onwards. So we haven't faced any problem in terms of supply from China. So the same is applicable for API supply also from China. So all the factories have started, but then we haven't seen any major impact in terms of price erosion because of the Chinese supply. Because that has started long back. I would say in Q2 itself, the supply had started.
I mean, because one leading company was saying that they were looking at some pressure during this quarter, so I was asking that.
Yeah, maybe it might be product specific, maybe because of that.
Oh, okay. That's helpful. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Nikhil Upadhyay from Securities Investment Management. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Hi, good evening, and thanks for the opportunity. Sir, my question was on the PLI. You mentioned that we would be doing 120 crores of CapEx, and you mentioned 2 products are in the pipeline. So are there more products in the pipeline, or is it like for 2 products we are doing 120 crores CapEx? If you can just clarify that.
Yeah. So one of the products we are yet to apply because that PLI scheme is yet to be announced, and another few products we have already applied for 2-3 of them. So the 120 to 150 ballpark figure which we were talking about, that is considering 2 big products actually. One which is yet to be applied, means that PLI has yet to come, and one which has already been applied.
Okay, but overall you would be applying for say 4-5 products, but these 2 would be the larger ones.
Larger, the more significant ones.
And just if you can help me understand with the PLI, the scheme and the proposals which are there, on your working, how competitive you become vis-a-vis Chinese or some other competitors on pricing side, or how does it improve our pricing as such vis-a-vis other players?
Because of PLI scheme?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the PLI scheme, the logic is very simple. What they have said is whatever is your selling price, and we do have to give that selling price upfront while applying for the PLI, and 10% of that selling price would be given by the government in the next 6 years. And the thing is, there is one more condition that they will consider only incremental sales, sales incremental to as compared to 19-20 sales. So whatever extra you sell, on that 10% government will give. And for various products they have put caps also. Means for your API there is a cap of around 2.5 crores, something like that, per annum. For intermediate they have a cap of 10 crores per annum for chemically synthesized one. So that caps are also there. One very good thing is that government amended that scheme to include exports as well. Earlier exports were not covered in PLI scheme, but now they have covered exports also, which is very good.
So how for us, for these 2 products, how does the pricing scenario or competitive scenario improve? That's the only thing I want to understand.
Yeah. So basically, on selling price 10% you will get more margin. Means to be competitive like that.
Okay, and by 6th year, so most of the people had this issue that after 6 years, the PLI scheme goes out, so the industry will again become uncompetitive. But how do you see in your business case?
Yeah. So I would answer this question citing our historical performance. Means in 2013-14 onwards, we had introduced few import substitute products like NOR processing, O processing, and levo processing. So at that point of time, India's almost 90% of the consumption was coming from China, and then we had put backward integrated facilities for these 3 products, and then slowly, means even without the existence of PLI scheme, we were able to capture almost 70-80% of the market share. So we are proud to say that already we have taken so much market share from China in the absence of PLI scheme. So basically, this PLI scheme will help us, in the initial phase, and definitely based on our R&D competency, we have to improve upon the the production cost and compete against China. By the end of 6 years, our production processes should be so much efficient that even in the absence of PLI scheme, we should be able to take care of Chinese competition.
Okay. Okay. Fine. Thanks a lot, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Charulata Gaidhani from Dalal & Broacha. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Hi. Congrats on the good set of numbers. My question pertains to metformin. What is your existing capacity of metformin?
So our existing capacity is around 1,100 tons per month.
Okay. And in case of, are you seeing pricing pressure in the international markets because China has eased out and started supplies of the APIs?
Yeah. I will ask Mr. Harit Shah to reply to this query.
Yeah.
Is it there? Hello?
Yes.
Mr. Harit Shah?
Sorry to interrupt. Mr. Harit Shah's number just got disconnected. Give me a moment.
I will take this question. No issue. So what we have seen you are asking specific to metformin or in general?
In general.
In general, okay. So yes, China has opened up, but then in spite of that, we are seeing very healthy growth in exports. So even this time, almost more than around 14% export growth was seen, and majorly good part is most of this growth has come from almost entire growth has come from the volume growth for exports, which means that the demand for Indian products is growing in exports, and the China Plus One strategy seems to be playing out. Definitely, it will play out in a much better way once the travel restrictions are lifted, because when we want to sell to some new customers or establish new relationships, once the traveling becomes open, then it will be even more easy to get more and more new clients. However, for companies like us, what is there, we are already selling some other products to a particular company, and we just want to introduce one extra product in that product basket, then it becomes relatively easy because we already have relationship with that company. So that is why we feel that this China Plus One strategy will definitely help for a company like us, because we have very diversified client base as far as exports is concerned.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry to interrupt. Madam, just to inform you, Mr. Harit Shah is now in the call.
Okay.
Yeah. So in terms of exports, what is the kind of expected growth going forward?
Yeah. Mr. Harit Shah has joined, so I think he will reply to them. He looks after our marketing.
Okay.
Yeah, for export side, we expect around 12 to 15% growth for next year. Actually.
Okay. So in line with domestic market.
Yeah, domestic. Yes.
Okay. And can you give me the geographic breakup?
It is across the world. It depends because many countries we are still facing a lockdown situation, like countries like Brazil, Europe, and USA. So it depends on the country to country. So now our export to African countries have gone up considerably recent past last 3-4 months. So average, if you see it, overall there will be a growth. Once this lockdown is over in Mexico and Brazil, we expect a lot of growth there in that country also.
Okay. Thank you. All the best.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Rajdeep Singh from ASK Investment Managers. Please go ahead.
Hello. Hi, Adesh sir.
Hi.
Adesh sir, just reiterating your call of 4,500 crores of revenue after 5 years, that is FY26. So that is approximately doubling our revenues from FY21 base, translating to 15-16% kind of top line growth.
Mm-hmm.
So just wanted a little bit clarity on the margin trajectory. So when we reach 4,500 crores of revenues by FY26, will our margins be closer to 25-26% range from current 20-21% range? Because by that time, all our brownfield, greenfield, backward integration projects would be in place?
One second. So what you say is correct, because the newer projects we are having better margins. Obviously, to achieve that level of margins, we will need to reach almost 80% utilization level, because only then the operating leverage will kick in. So definitely in the best case scenario, the margins should increase. Means, considering the fact that if the current margins remains where they are right now, the addition of new products should take it nearer to 24-25%. So let's see how it plays out, because it's too far, to estimate right now how it will look like. But then it should move in that direction.
I understand the volatility between the quarters and in the medium term, but on a just to get the longer picture correct, at 4,500 crores of sales, 25-26% kind of margin is doable or achievable for us with the kind of capex that we are putting in.
Right.
Right. And the 600 crores of capex is entirely towards API and intermediates. There's nothing on the formulation side.
Yeah. So the 600 is entirely towards your API, intermediate, and specialty chemicals. And the formulation one will be extra. That will be doing through Pinnacle licenses.
Okay. And how much is that?
So, Vishwa, can you?
Yeah. So, on the formulation front, we are planning to expand into our capacities in our existing facility, like a brownfield project. So there, the approximate capex would be around 40 to 50 crores. That is in the immediate future. And apart from that, there are no immediate plans of investing in capex, but our strategy of investing into product development and more into IP and R&D will continue.
Okay. So this 40 to 50 crores is for 2 years or 3 years, right?
Yeah, for 2 years.
Cumulatively.
Sorry?
Cumulatively, 40, 50 crores each year?
Yeah, cumulatively for 2 years.
Fair. That is helpful. And Adesh sir, just one request, that if you could just release the presentation well before time, it is helpful for us to go through.
Okay.
We have not yet received the presentation yet.
Okay. No problem. Next time we'll do that.
Yeah. Thank you so much and all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Saravanan from Unifi Capital. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for taking my follow-up. This is just more of a clarification. Does this 600 crore capex include this 120 crores capex pertaining to the PLI?
Yes, it does. It includes that.
Okay. So the 7 projects that you have mentioned, 2 intermediates for captive consumption, metformin and sulfuric acid again for captive consumption, then skin treatment API. So the balance products are for the PLI. So we have 3, 4, 5.
And chlorosulfonation products also.
Okay, chlorosulfonation products also.
Yes.
Okay. And just the total debt that you mentioned is 320 crores, is it, as of now?
334 crores on consolidated basis.
334 crores, okay.
Yes.
And out of that, 180 crores is term debt.
Around 186 is term debt.
Okay. So considering the way, your markets have shaped up, your capex have come online, the H1 as well as H2 will come online, and considering the pricing scenario also, is it fair to expect that next year will be more of a volume growth rather than a price-led growth?
Correct. So next year, I think it's all about the volume growth. We also believe the same.
Okay. So are you expecting 10 plus, or would it be high single digits or 10 to 15%?
Yeah, we are expecting and targeting 10 plus, no doubt about that, the volume growth.
Okay, that is useful. And from a next year perspective, this 20 to 21% margins can be sustained, right?
So as of now, we don't see any downward pressure. In fact, we thought that the margins would come off by Q2 itself, once the things normalize. But even after all the supplies have started, most of the companies are operational now. But still, we see that the prices have stabilized. So at least as of now, it seems like it should continue like this for a while.
So could you, I mean, in your assessment, what do you think is the reason? How come suddenly the pricing scenario has gone up to a higher level and it's able to sustain? What is the key risk to this assumption?
For us, definitely this anti-dumping duty has also come in, so that has also helped us a little bit. Then the kind of products we are operating in, China is one of the major competitors for us, because the Indian competition in most of the, not in all, but in most of the products is very less for our product profile. And what we have seen there, the Chinese yuan has also become very strong. So overall, China seems to be less competitive. So that is why the prices are up for our product profile.
Okay, great. Thanks a lot and all the very best.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Anand Singh, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Thank you for the opportunity. I have 3 questions. So first question is about exports. Now in Q3 we heard that a lot of companies in Q2 and Q3 faced container issues. Did we face any such challenges, and are there any revenues which are unrecognized because the shipment is pending at the port or delays in the shipment of any kind?
I will ask Mr. Harit Shah to answer that question.
Actually, we faced some delays, but overall we could able to manage whatever containers we required. The only thing was the freight has gone up. The CI freight has gone up continually. In some cases, it is more than double. But that we are taking into account for while quoting for next quarter requirement. But we have as far as our shipments are concerned, there is a delay, but we are able to manage.
Sure. Sir, my second question is about specialty chemicals CRAMS kind of opportunity. Now, in the previous calls, there was some indication that we have some connections in Japan or something where we can potentially have a CRAMS kind of an opportunity in specialty chemicals. So, any update on that if you can provide?
So, I would like to clarify. It's more about you can say contract manufacturing, not exactly CRAMS. So the thing is, in fact, we have been doing good business with them. We have also expanded our capacity by 50% to supply more material. So that business is going well, but though it is made for a particular client, but then it's more like a buy sell model, stock and sell model for us. That way, but then that relationship has grown definitely.
But is it leading to any specific dedicated capex for them in the 600 crore capex that we are doing?
No. In the 600 crore, no.
Okay, so if any such opportunity on the specialty chemicals arise, that will be then we'll have to do additional capex other than the 600 crore capex.
Other than this, correct.
Yeah. And sir, in terms of this 4,500 crore number, is it fair to assume that this is like the base case kind of number, and if things surprise on the upside, we might even end up with higher numbers? So this is something which is very much achievable, right? This is not an aspirational goal that we are setting. This is a doable target that we have. Is my reading correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay. And in terms of pricing, since we have not seen any significant erosion from Q1 or Q2 levels, what is your sense? Like, is there a shortage in the market, or is there some raw material constraint that is holding prices up? No, and eventually they should come back, or is it like a new normal?
No, I would like to correct on one thing on this one. Since Q1 the prices have come down, no doubt about that. In Q2, it's in the mid of Q2, the prices came down a little bit, and after that they have stabilized. From the mid of second quarter till date, the prices have stabilized.
Okay.
And that is,
yeah. So do you see any specific risk, like any competitor starting in China or any Indian competitor scaling up capacity, which can lead to margin pressure over in the foreseeable 12-24 months?
Yeah. So we don't foresee any new Chinese competition, frankly speaking. And even in case of domestic market, the kind of molecules in which we are operating, the newer ones definitely, say for example metformin, that's a very popular product, and there are a lot of players, more than 7-8 players will be there, Indian players in the market. But definitely in a couple of years time, maybe 2 to 3 years time, the things will consolidate, like for other APIs. It has what we have seen. Typically, what we see in a country in the longer run, around 3 players remain to manufacture a particular API. That is what we have seen for most of the products, bulk drugs, that is. So we don't see much of competition, because once we grow to a certain stage, then the economic of scale starts kicking in, and then it becomes very difficult for a new entrant to come in that product.
Okay. And so by what time do you anticipate this 600 crore CapEx to be completely done? As of today, what is the timeline on your mind?
Correct. So by FY23, most of it, 90% of it should be done.
Okay.
But it will be done. But some projects will finish earlier. Some it will take time. So it will be like that.
Sure. Thank you. I'll come back again.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Jason Soans from Monarch Networth Capital Limited. Please go ahead.
Sure. Thanks for taking my question, sir. Just a repetition. Just wanted to confirm a few details. The capex for 7 projects. I'll just confirm it to you. The 7 products are basically, first is the anti-diabetic, second is the skin related, third is sulfonated products, fourth is low sulfonated products, fifth is metformin, and the sixth one are the 2 PLI products. Is my understanding correct?
Yes, correct.
That's more or less it. And in your last con call, you had also mentioned that this total capex has a total revenue potential of around rupees 2,500 crores in the next 2 years. In the previous con call, you had mentioned this. So I mean, we still stick to that, right?
So current potential is 2,500 crores for our API segment. Yes.
For your API segment, right? And so you also mentioned that external sales of these projects, have a rough potential. External sales have a rough potential of around rupees 1,200 crores emanating from this capex.
Correct.
Yeah, sure. That's all from my side. Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Anand Padmanabhan from PGIM India Mutual Fund. Please go ahead.
Thanks for taking my question. Sir, could you give some color on what is the average raw material inventory that you are maintaining today, and how do you expect it to progress in the coming quarters? And similar color on what is the kind of raw material inventory that you see your clients are doing. The reason why I'm asking this question is because there was some impression that at the time of COVID, when there was a lot of disruption across the board, many formulation manufacturers had increased the average API inventory that they maintain at their end. So if you could give some color on this, it would.
Yeah, I think I will ask Mr. Harit Shah to answer your query.
Yeah, normally we keep our raw material inventory is about 30 days, including import of raw materials, and we have not increased the inventory in recent past because the raw material availability is quite abundant, so we don't see any shortage on the raw material front. And as far as finished goods are concerned, also we have inventory of about 21 days approximately. That is average of our last 2-3 years. Yeah.
Could you also give some color on what is the side? Do you see any trends in do you see your customers maintaining a higher inventory than what they were maintaining initially based on your discussion?
So now in second or third quarter they have started reducing the inventory, which was there in March, April, May, June quarter. But now things are okay. They are on back to normal. Yeah.
So Q3 reflects the very normalized inventory at your customers end also.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, sir. That's all from my end.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Nikhil Upadhyay from Securities Investment Management. Please go ahead.
Hi, thanks for the opportunity. Just on the pricing point, sir, you said in the post Q1, in Q2 and Q3, the prices have stabilized. Now, there are 2 points which I wanted to understand. One is like how, if we consider the pricing versus pre-COVID, how higher the prices are in general. And secondly, would you say this is still an issue because of the supply not being commensurate, or as a result the prices are higher, or is it because of the things which have been happening in China for last 3-4 years, that the environmental issues and the companies shutting down their facilities, and as a result the prices are higher? And vis-a-vis today, if we have to see a cost of production in China, would their cost of production or their price of selling would be similar to what we are selling?
Yes. So you're very much correct. You're reading about that structural change in China since last 3-4 years is very much correct, because the cost of production for the Chinese manufacturer has gone up. But at the same time, because more and more Chinese companies are also getting listed, they're trying to attract external investors. Earlier, Chinese companies used to work on a paper thin margins, like 4-5%. But now for them also, margins have become important, because if they want to attract investors, then they have to show good margins. So overall, what we have seen that that competition which we used to face from China, from 2005 to 2010. Almost 15 years back, that has drastically reduced in last 4-5 years, and that is also one of the reasons why we were able to capture that import substitute product in the absence of PLI scheme. Also, we were able to capture that much market from the Chinese players. So cost of production is very much comparable, I would say, but I would like to add one that it will be comparable only if the Indian manufacturer is manufacturing that particular product to a big scale. Means if a small scale company may not be able to compete with the cost of production with China, but one who is a very big player in that particular product, they will be able to compete.
And on how higher the prices would be versus pre-COVID in general?
It's difficult to say.
So just put it simply, like last year, same quarter, if the prices were X for the basket of products, would it be now 1.3, 1.2 times of that X, or?
So see, our overall growth was around 12%, and you can say around 36% of that was driven by the price.
Okay.
So 0.36 multiplied by 12. So around that much prices are more as compared. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks a lot, sir.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. As there are no further questions from the participants, I now hand the conference over to Mr. Adhish Patil, CFO, for closing comments.
Yeah. So thank you everyone for participating in the call and asking the questions. It was quite insightful for all of us, to the management team of Aarti Drugs also, and we do look forward interacting with you in the next con call very soon. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. On behalf of Centrum Broking Limited, that concludes the conference call. Thank you for joining us, and you may now disconnect your line.